The S95B is not Samsung's flagship TV of 2022. This is a comment that was left by YouTuber Dr. Parker. Mr. Parker, we're going to talk about your comment, but before we get to that, YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, TKK. We are back with another video. Guys, it is 9:30 a.m. Eastern time as I'm sitting on my desk right here. It is Monday, August the 22nd, 22, as I said. And because it's Monday, this is the day that I like to take the time to appreciate the comments. You guys, men and women alike, have taken time to, offer some feedback on the channel. And I like to pick and choose some comments that I think are worth discussing on the channel. Dr. Parker's comment reads specifically, the S95B is not Samsung flagship TV, so they have room to drop the price more, whereas the Sony A95K is their flagship. The G2 from LG is their flagship, and the fact that the S95B is one of the best TVs this year is crazy to him. Sony's Master Series last year was the A90 Jasper. I believe it is even more expensive than the S95B. He said, I can't see the A95K price dropping lower than the A90J. In parentheses, he said, it's a Master Series also. He said, whereas you'll see the S95B even cheaper, and I can't wait until Black Friday. Listen, amazing comment, brother. The piece of this comment that really got me interested is how you started it out by saying that it's not Samsung's flagship TV, and I definitely can agree. They are not marketing it, but I will disagree. I will tell you that in my opinion, it is the best looking TV that Samsung has had ever. It's their best looking TV of all time. They don't have anything else on the market that looks better than that TV. Now, when we talk about, how they market the TV and if they consider or call it their best TV, that's a different conversation completely. Like entirely, that conversation is totally different. And I do understand the context in which you're saying that, for them, they might look at it as like a tier 3, tier 4 TV, whereas the Sony, it's top. But the one thing we have to understand is the way that Sony functions is they don't make a ton of brands. I mean, they don't make a ton of different models, right? They've got I think it's 2 Master Series this year. They've got the small TV on lock. They've got the quantum dot on lock. I mean, they're just in a position that's a little bit different. Now, I could be wrong by saying that they only have 2 Master Series TVs, but I know for a fact that I purchased the A90K in 48 class and then, the Alpha 95K in 65. So those 2 TVs really dominate the market. Samsung has nothing that looks as good as the A90J in a 50, 40, or anything like that. And they've got nothing that looks as good, in my opinion, for a film perspective than the Alpha 95 King in the 65-55 class. Yes, the S95B, similar panel, and it depends on who you ask, right? Most of the people that are the trusted source on YouTube, let's just use YouTube and not go with forums, are going to tell you that the Sony looks better, right? They'll say that the Samsung, you can get it really close. We've had this conversation, several videos, but because of the cost, it would be better to just go with the Samsung because it's cheaper and you can dial it in really close. I digress. I like your comment. I appreciate your comment. Thank you. This YouTuber name is AvidG. I'm sorry, brother. I cannot think of how this is pronounced, but I'm going to spell your name out. All due respects. It's AVEDGY. His comment reads, and I quote, hell yeah, dude, I'm the same. He said, I like what fits my likes. Speaking of his, he said, I still prefer the PS4 controller over the PS5. I prefer to play SOCOM over any other shooter. He says certain headphones for my liking and comfort in my motorcycle over a Super Sport. He said, and all that. He said, I don't care what's better. I like what's best, what fits me best in my likings. And listen, the reason that I wanted to share your comment is because some of the conversations that I've held and hosted on my channel lately have really been about me trying to promote a person just being happy with like whatever their purchase is, right? There's a certain level of quality from a name that I'm willing to respect and buy from just based off reputation, right? Let's just use like Hisense and Vizio and TCL, just as an example of TV brands that I have never, or I bought Vizios, but it's been a very long time since I bought anything from those three brands. I've bought regularly from Samsung, LG, and Sony. And it's really based off of the integrity of what their reputation holds, right? The weight that it holds, like the consistency. From Sony and from Samsung and LG, the innovation. From Sony, the level of detail and the perfection that they put into several of their models. Now, they have some entry level TVs that I could probably care less for, but you know, the point is they've got a reputation for shooting very high for quality. Ultimately, I save my money and I would rather just plan in advance. Like if I know a TV's coming out, say if it's November and I know a TV's going to come out May the next year, I'm gonna start putting 100 up here, 200 up here, 500 up here, so that when that time comes, I can cash out, get what I want. If I don't like it, hey, okay, I'll go back to the drawing board, return it, get something different, but I'm ready to purchase what I want. I appreciate your comment because I really feel like ultimately that's what people really need to do. Get what you like to get, man. I like the C2. It's in front of me. This is my favorite all around use case TV over the other ones that look better, that are better technically on paper and from a visual perspective. This TV, it warms my heart. It's the best for me. So thank you. All right. This next comment is by user Supreme 10ZX. I'm going to spell the last name, my brother. It's spelled T, 3 A's, N, capital X, Z. Brother, I appreciate the comment. I did like and heart your comment. And I did leave you a reply saying that I saved your comment. So hopefully you do tap into this video. He said, yo, TKK, I like this discussion as it's something I find in many, many comment sections of your videos and other content creators, excuse me. He said, but what I also find is a constant talking point is that brightness is king. So basically he goes on to speak more about how people tend to focus more on the brightness versus like, you know, the detail of like what you're looking at when you see a TV. And again, this is not to bash like Samsung, but a lot of people, they focus so much on the brightness. Now, for you guys that own the S95B and that are offended by the update that might have changed things, listen, I totally get that. But understand, like in the general community of things, that people that don't really own the TVs like you or me may, they see brightness or a lack thereof, and they'll think that the TV isn't as good. They don't think it looks as good. But his comment goes on to speak on how he says, I know that it seems that we as a community go through each and every facet of a display with a fine comb, but these are high-end TVs. He said the highest end TVs in the 4K space, speaking to like the A95K, the S95B, the G2, C2, etc. He says, so them differences do utterly matter. He said, it's always brilliant talking to you, bro. Much love, bro. Max love to you, man. I appreciate your comment. I had to get it on the content here, man, because it deserves to be in history. I hope that people will be able to see that and focus more on the details like you and I. I have to be honest with you. Looking at Sony when I got the Alpha 90K in 48 inch a couple of weeks ago, amazing TV. It opened up a level of detail that, in my opinion, I did not see with the S95B. I'm being honest with you. The fact that that TV is so bright, it just distracts the detail that you might be looking for. Now, I'm not saying that the TV doesn't have exquisite levels of detail. It is definitely a great TV. But what I'm just trying to articulate to you is that the way that the Sony TVs look, speaking on the A90K, not even the 95, but just the A90K, it opened me up to something. And I was just like, dang, this looks really, really good. So without me completely ranting over your comment, I just want to say that I appreciate that you appreciate the details, and I hope that others will be able to chime in. All right, this is a comment about audio, which if you guys haven't seen yesterday's upload, was in regards to me getting the Sony system. I finally got the Alpha 95K up to the bedroom where it's going to be, and I've got a combo of the sound bar, the subwoofer, and some rears. So this YouTuber, I'm gonna spell your name out. Number 1, AQUADON. Brother, I appreciate the comment. I didn't get an opportunity at this point when I had did the screenshot to heart and like it. I'm sure I did now. I also don't think that I let you know that I was going to leave you a comment. So hopefully you do get to chime into this and see that I appreciated your comment enough to speak on it. But he starts by saying, sup, TKK. He said, I've got the Sony HTA9 system. It sounds nice, but... literally how he typed it. He said, you cannot separately adjust Atmos portion of the audio. In parentheses, only front main and rear main. He said, this leaves the Atmos almost non-existent. He said, and the center channel doesn't quite cut it for me. So I'm looking forward to grabbing one of the Sony TVs that can act as a center speaker for the HT-A9 system. He said, that should help. He said, in parentheses, also sucks that you must own a newer higher end TV to have this option. Hopefully that will change. So all in all, HT-A9 system is too expensive for what it gives, in my honest opinion. I appreciate that, brother. You know, for me, looking at audio for the bedroom space was something that I felt like, you know, I just needed to personally find me a comfortable medium. Now, my thing is like the only thing that I don't like about my setup, and it's really me being stubborn, because I could very well just mount it on the wall, mount the TV on the wall, and mount the soundbar right under it. But guys, I am like, listen, it'll be 2 weeks from now where I'll want to move my room completely around. And that's the reason that I don't like mounting stuff. This is also the reason that, you know, off topic, I don't like getting the LG G2s. They don't come with a base. And so I have nowhere I can set it as a pivot. I have to mount it, right? But, you know, to the point of an audio system being too expensive, for me, I just wanted something that was rather, dare I say, like a comfortable medium, something that was affordable for me. Because I had saved up some money already. I was looking to spend a lot more money by replacing my living room setup and putting what I have in the living room into the bedroom. When I went to thinking about that, I was like, man, this is going to be too much. Like this sub, these towers, these bookshelves, like, and then I got to deal with the wires. In the living room space, I got it ran neat. They're tucked under rugs and things like that. But in the bedroom, I'm like, nah, I don't want to deal with that. So the system I got is pretty good. Again, I would encourage you guys to check it out. I got the A5000, I got the SW3, and then I got the 3 Series rears. They're really good. But brother, thank you for the comment. All right, this next comment is from Anand. It's spelled A-N-A-N-D. He said, I enjoy your videos and try to watch almost all of them. He said, I got the S95B, but looking to upgrade size to 77 or larger in the next few years. He said, separate question. He said, any thoughts on the Asus ROG monitor? It does come in 42 and 48 class. He said, as a gaming monitor. He says, I have the 48 class CX as my monitor with my M1 Mac Mini, but think I want to upgrade and downsize a bit and was looking for a smaller OLED option. And the Asus seems like it's smoking good. So I appreciate this comment, and I have been asked by many of people, not as descriptive as you did, about this monitor, the Asus monitor. And let me just tell you guys, I had an opportunity to get it. And number one, I have nowhere to put it. And number two, there's just nothing about it that makes me want it, right? Like my 48 inch this year was the A95K, right? And really because in the space of content creating, like I'm trying to off camera get into like photography. And so I felt like, you know, I just wanted to get me a display that was just going to look really, really good. And I feel like there's nothing at all that's 50 inch, 48 inch, 40 inch that looks as good as the A90K. Now, with that being said, I'm one that likes to shoot to the top from a visual perspective. Outside of that, I would say that my personal opinion, based on what I've researched, because I've did a lot of research on this, outside of TVs, I'm really enthusiastic with monitors, right? The Asus monitor looks really good. The custom heatsink, not just heatsink, the custom heatsink. So it's nothing that was just made for something else and put on it. It's custom heatsink. The fact that it is actually a PC monitor, it looks to be really fantastic. And I think that any person that looks to buy that will be extremely happy. It's coming out at the right time because around the corner, we will have some 4000 series graphics cards out from NVIDIA. So my opinion is that it's a great piece of technology. I have no desire to get that monitor in 48, 42, nor do I have a desire to get that 55 inch Samsung monitor too. I've been asked that question by many of people. Brother, thank you for the comment. All right, this is by IBJ Corano 6. He said, thanks for the videos. He said, we're looking to get an OLED for our entertainment set this year, and your videos have been very helpful. He said, I understand tech, just like many others in life, can be underappreciated, unappreciated, unpredictable. I'm sorry, I can't read today. He said, but how long do you think the C1, C2 will last if used between 6 to 8 hours a day between streaming shows, movies, and playing games? Thanks. So I really wanted to share your comment because at the time you left the comment, I already was planning to make the content about me junking out my C9. And I think that that's going to be a really helpful video for you, right? The content is shot in chronological order. I can't say that enough. I know a lot of YouTubers, let me just use the term, the larger YouTubers, right? Like I'm talking about the guys that are like 200, 300 plus thousand subscribers that may be sponsored or maybe have partnerships where products are sent to them. Their content is shot in a different manner. They may have that content. They may work with other people that are more well versed with that, and they may give them the talking points. And keeping in mind, they're the face. They are the presenter. They may not themselves be so connected to the technology as they are to the camera to be the one to speak for the technology. They're the spokesperson. My content is different. It's bought, tried, true, used, right? It's not purchased for review. It's not bought to put on YouTube to return when we're done. It's bought and used. Now, I say that just to say the content that I've shot about the C9 having 12,000 hours, 13,000 hours months ago. And then recently, the 2 videos in which, you know, I talked to you guys about me exchanging it or getting it worked on from the warranty perspective based on those first videos, right? And then how I got the A95K for 2,400, which upset some people, but again, wasn't aimed at clickbait, was just explaining the whole situation. It's all in order. With that being said, I think that a C1, C2 would last you for a very long time. We're talking years. Now, I just got my C9 junked out, but I still have it. It works great. Now, if you go looking for some image burn in the panel, you're going to see it, right? I know what to look for. I've been using these TVs for a very long time, and so I'm experienced with it to a higher level where I know what to look for, right? And there are even certain scenes where I'm watching regular content when I know I can see what's there. But that what is there that is burnt is plastered in my mind. So I'm looking for it. Now, that's a pandemic TV. So a lot of utilization, working from home and so forth during the time when it was out. You get into C1, C2, using it just like day to day, man, you're going to have that TV for years, brother. So thanks for your comment. And hopefully this segment, this piece of this video helps you out. All right. Leroy says, for me, watching both the A95K and the S95B, I like a brighter picture. And I noticed that making the A95K brighter, I lose a lot of picture quality detail. But what I love about the S95B is that I can make it brighter than the A95K and still have more detail than the A95K. And for the A95K, I have to keep the brightness down to have superb detail. And my rooms are brighter, and I do like the S95B more than the A95K for movies and TV shows. It looks better to me on the S95B, but I do love both TVs. They both are the best. There's no doubt, though, Samsung could have done much better with the build quality. It's flimsy. A lot of that was literally rolled together. And so I read it exactly like it was written. And I appreciate that. The passion in the comment, the time you took. I did thumb it up. I'll have to find it so I can make sure I heart it. I might have had a flood of comments at that time where I might have missed hearting it, or I might have double tapped it by accident. Thank you for the comment. Really good content there, right? So let's talk about this. You like the S95B because your personal preference is a brighter picture quality. And that says a lot. I respect that. I can appreciate when a person can understand what they like out of a TV and how they like for a TV set to look. That is important. That is very critical, right? Now, the piece in which you say that the Alpha 95 King loses detail when it's really bright, I personally cannot confirm to that. You know, my Alpha 95 King does not lose detail when it's bright. I'm talking about when it's supposed to be bright, not when I am fictitiously forcing a brightness to it. That is not how TVs are supposed to look. And that's what we need to understand. The Sony is in a different caliber because when it's as bright as it's supposed to be, it's still going to retain the detail. Anything beyond that, you have to soft calibrate it to get it to your liking. If the Samsung offers you what you want and that same level of brightness that is good for you, that's great. I cannot understand why any person just wants to see a TV that is just bright. That doesn't matter. That makes no sense to me, right? Understanding that a TV is a replica of a movie screen. Like the whole reason that we want to watch movies is based on like the origin of where you would go to watch movies. And so when I talk to people, I always tell them the most cheap TV that you can buy is going to look a lot better and be a lot brighter than any movie theater that you can go to. Now, with that being said, how bright is too bright? It's a personal taste, right? And are we looking for bright details or just a bright picture? I don't personally want just a bright picture. And I'm not saying that Samsung is known for that. What I am saying is that in vivid mode, they offer such a high level of brightness, 100%, that when you go into a retail store, it's going to stick out. I personally think it's really designed that way to attract people to look at them. When you look at the Sony TV or the LG TV or the whatever other brand, you're going to immediately say, man, it doesn't look as bright as this. When you're in a retail store, you got to keep in mind that there's a lot of artificial lights. So if you've got a lot of artificial light that is bright and you've got a really bright TV versus a lot of artificial light that is falsely bright and you got a not so bright TV, the TV that is vivid, that looks more brighter in that area is going to look better. But when you get it home, you don't have 50,000 lights exaggerating, but you get my point, in your ceiling. And so you want a TV, in my opinion, that's going to look more warm. But brother, I appreciate your comment. Like I said, the fact that you know what you like, that's what it's about, my man. All right, we're going to wrap up with this last comment here. Spur Mario, that's SPRRR Mario. He said, I don't understand why people cry so much about HDMI 2.1 ports that they don't have 4. So what? He said, I mean, how many gadgets do you have that actually need HDMI 2.1? That's the question he's asking. He goes on to say you can plug in your PC and your PS5 or your PC and your Xbox One X. If you have a Nintendo 2, you can use the 2.0 that doesn't need 2.1. He said you should be more concerned why they don't have an added gigabit port on the TV or USB 3.0, 3.1, 3.2. Your comment is phenomenal. It's great. It's really good. I found myself, since using the S95B, that I care less about the lack of HDMI 2.1 in quantity that it has. And I'm more concerned and more in a distaste with a lot of these TVs not having more HDMI or more USB ports, right? Or 3.2, like he said, you don't have a USB-C on there or anything like that. Now, keeping in mind with the Sony, I'm really disappointed with the lack of USBs because it's a Google TV. The operating system itself opens you up to be able to do so many different things. You can literally run, and I'm not even going to talk about it. I got some content coming about some of the different things I put on that TV, and it's really, really great. But the lack of USB ports is definitely something that I noticed more so. Now, why people would be so upset about the 2.1, you not having, let's say, 4 ports like you get with the LG to Samsung, I really think it just comes down to, what people would classify as a standard. And rightfully so, consumers can argue about that. But if you know that you're not even interested in buying a TV, I don't think it's that big a deal. I don't think that it's a big a deal breaker for people. Back with that thought because my camera had to reset. But I think that people are more so focused on the fact that it's not a standard. And again, you buy certain TVs in certain classes for certain different reasons. Now, the reasoning that the Sony as a whole, brand doesn't have more ports that are 2.1 is a bigger issue that hopefully will be addressed next year. I keep seeing people talk about the chipset, whatnot. Like I said, that's a different thing altogether. But most people, in my opinion, that may look to buy the A95K may not be like the overly enthusiastic gamer. I do think that what they've done with it is good enough. So I kind of understand both, but I do appreciate your comment, man. It's a really good comment, and I'm grateful for you leaving it, bro. All right, that's going to conclude this video. So I definitely appreciate the comments. There was many more that I did a screenshot on. I'm recording this not on the computer, so I'm not able to see like how long each feed went. So I'll go through. These aren't videos that I really like to cut down. I like to really get the talking points out. But what's most important is that you guys leave more comments. This is just an appreciation piece, right? To let you know that I do really read what you say. And I don't remove or delete comments unless they just come off as like disrespectful. That's the only way I'm going to get rid of what you got to say. But any constructive criticism that you guys got, I do appreciate and I welcome it 100%. So keep it up. Hopefully you guys are enjoying everything that's going on. I've got a lot of stuff already lined up to come out. I'm going to get to some point where I'll just start shooting content in bursts, and then I'll edit it, and then I'll get a lot of premieres going. But for now, we know that we're going to be trying to get daily uploads going. So we got a lot of things, like I said, on the platter that I'm about to serve up. So I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace. God bless. Max love.